Hey, 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 good evening. Hello, welcome everyone to another episode of A Conversation in Isolation with Sonia Rossi. I'm live on Instagram and a warm welcome to everyone listening also on Spotify and YouTube. I'm very excited to be back with you tonight, live from Sydney, Australia, and tonight I'm going to be joined, hello, hi Owen, by our friend in Paris, France. Let's get him in. How's everyone's day been so far? Where you are? Hello everyone. Hi Ivan. Hi Gabriela.
Hey,
Hello.
hello, hi Sonia.
Hi Owen, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Yourself?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good,
It's Tuesday
good.
morning for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 11, just past 2 past 11. So
Lovely,
it's
lovely.
still morning. We're still waking up at the moment.
Welcome everyone. I can see some friends joining.
Hey, hello
Yes.
everyone.
Hello. So tell me, what have you
Oh,
been
but
up to this
yeah.
morning so far?
So yes, so been this morning had it a bit slow because trying to go back to Malta for Christmas holidays. So checking some logistics and stuff. So coffee, breakfast, and logistics. That's all that
Logistics,
happened
that's right.
this morning.
So Owen and I met recently on Instagram, thanks to a, let's say, a coach in Canada. So it's a pretty
Nice.
international connection, Coach Jay. So shout out to Coach Jay.
Yeah, it's always so amazing with this I have a chat with you from Australia. I had a chat with Michael from the US, another Chef Blake, from Australia. Everyone
That's
from
right.
different countries. Harry in the UK. We are all meeting up in from all over the world. It's so incredible. I love it so much.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it? I mean, he's managed to create a community online and welcoming everyone from all fields, all types of
Yeah,
work, and especially
yeah.
chefs. And that's how I
Yeah,
met you.
it's so funny there. I mean, as I say, it's pretty a lot of times. I'm not a professional chef. Like I love cooking; it's my passion. But I'm not a trained chef. Like what I cook,
I
I
see.
learned by myself and everything. But it's so random that there are a lot of people that are actually quite passionate about food, and or they are professional chefs. I just set up a bit the light like this. It's a bit more in my face. Yeah, so
Oh, that's
it's so
okay.
amazing and
That's right.
I love it. I love it, and it
That's
also
right.
gives
And
me the opportunity. Sorry.
no,
Yeah.
keep going.
I was saying it also gives an opportunity to discover new food, new cuisines, and find different things. Like I've seen Chef Terry's live when he was cooking and talking about pickling and things like that, which I find very interesting, very cool.
That's right. That's right. So, Owen, would you like to tell us a little bit about your story? I know you're in Paris,
Yeah.
right?
So
What do you do
yeah.
there? Who are you? Tell us a little bit about you.
So I am actually Maltese, so from a small island in the Mediterranean Sea. Lovely island with a lot of nice people and a lot of amazing food, if I have to say. I know that in
Yes,
Australia there are a lot of Maltese people. There, yeah,
that's true.
I even have family who live over there at the moment. So I moved
Oh,
to
fantastic.
France. Yeah, I moved to France around 5 years ago. Yeah, just over 5 years ago. I've been living here. I studied in Malta and I continued my studies here in France. I
Lovely.
worked in different companies, and now I'm working on a food project where I get food, where I learn about food and cultures from different countries and all over the world, and
Wow.
I share it with people and try the recipes and make my own recipes through influence, like getting influenced by recipes from, let's say, Iran, from England, from
Wow.
Germany. I don't know, like any country, that India, anything that can be possible, and then I cook and share it with the people and
Beautiful.
that are
Beautiful.
interested.
Welcome everyone joining in on our Instagram live chat between Sydney and Paris, France. Okay, fantastic, Owen. So this podcast live on Instagram and then on YouTube and Spotify, it's basically a project to try to. Sorry, can I just ask? I think that I can hear my echo.
I can hear you well. I don't know. I have my headphones on, so it shouldn't echo, but I don't know.
Okay, I can hear a bit of an echo. That's okay. So it's a project to try to connect with people around the world and talk a little bit about what's been happening this year, because it's been such an isolating, weird, surreal year for everyone, COVID, obviously, and lockdowns. So I've been trying to connect with people and hear how they've coped with this 2020. Right. So I was wondering, could you tell us a little bit about what's been happening in France? How did COVID happen and when? And how did lockdown start back in March, April?
So it started. It was really like fast. I remember I was talking about it with a friend of mine. I had a colleague of mine who was going to China because of work. And I remember telling him, like, hey, be careful about going to China, because there are people getting sick and it seems to be pretty much serious. And that was back in, I think, like February, something like that. Like, it was, for me, it was just maybe a cold, like, be careful, blah, blah, blah. And then we all know that it wasn't just a simple cold, like it turned into something a bit more serious. I remember it was March, I think, the 13th, where lockdown was announced here in France, and since then, like, I haven't been to the office, and like a lot of things kind of changed at the same time. So it kind of happened very fast. Like people needed to adapt and be flexible. But I find that a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people I admire a lot of people for being very flexible and managing to change their day and from their routine to a new routine. It goes to show how flexible we are as human, that we are capable of adapting the way we do.
Absolutely. So when this started back in February, March, it started in Europe, France, Italy, England, etc. How did that change your routine at the time? As you said, you couldn't go back into the office.
Yeah, so I mean, I used to enjoy going out, even like after work, like, you know, you go out for a beer or a drink, you eat something. I mean, that's the beauty of being in Paris, is to go out. There is no point in being in Paris to stay at home, if I have to be honest. So I used to enjoy walking along the Seine and walking around and just getting lost. I mean, you know, the typical cliche things that people do in Paris. So that was one of the things that went away, like from the day to the next day, like in a second.
So quickly.
So that was so quickly, and I also had a lot of plans to go to Malta for weddings. So I had like I still went to Malta, but weddings got postponed. Events were done in a different way. So so it was like all of this this craziness, if I have to say. But that's about it. But also, I find that it also encouraged me, like, to do other stuff, especially the food thing that I'm doing right now. It was not something that I was planning on doing. I was planning on doing it prior to Corona, I have to say. But then, like, this was kind of like the you know, like, oh, and now you have no excuses. Now is the real time that you have to do it. And then so here I am, like, I'm doing it, and it's fun.
That's great. So you managed to find a way of coping with a big change to your lifestyle. I mean, obviously, it had a big effect on your life, but you managed to cope with it, didn't you? You found a way.
So I mean, I think you might know Gary Vaynerchuk as well, and he mentioned about, there was tea with Gary V happening and everything, and I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he said, like, we are in Corona, or it will happen for sure. It will definitely happen. We are going through it, and you have two choices. You can either look back at it and you say like, listen, Corona happened, and I stayed at home watching Netflix and doing nothing. Or else you're going to look back and you would say you wanted to do something. I wanted to be part of the group of people that say I look back and I did something during this period of time. And I also like sharing a bit of positivity and sharing a bit of making people smile and happy, because food makes me happy. And I think that when I share food, if people are the same as me, they will be happy with food. So like it's all about that. Like it's all about doing something and sharing something positive. Like I mean, everyone must be tired of looking at the numbers going up, doctors telling you cover your face, do this, wash your hands. Like it's kind of like even going to the store is kind of, you get like reminders, don't forget to wash your hands. Like, okay, thank you. I mean, I'm not 5 years old. Now it's like everywhere, like signs everywhere, people with masks. Like you go in, the security person puts like gel on your hand. Like it's so much. So a bit of food is a good, what do you call it, a good medicine, like a positive, good tasty medicine, I would say.
Distraction and a way of cheering up and feeling better as well. Eating good food, especially, right? It's a way of keeping healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I find that when we are stuck at home, I will not generalize, but a lot of people will end up, you get not in the mood to be cooking because you're kind of forced to be eating, especially when you're, I don't know, a lot of people will end up going to microwave food, which I find it very, very, thank you, Chef Blake. So, which is, I mean, I'm not saying that I never eat frozen pizza and things like that. I'm not it's possible, but like I want to show people that you can change your food, you can eat something different from different countries all over the world, and it takes a few minutes to prepare. Like a few weeks ago, I was doing a live show with a girl from Hong Kong, where she shared peppery spaghetti, which takes literally not even 15 minutes to prepare. Like with meat, it was very tasty, and like it was good. Like how many times are you going to eat the same bolognese? And usually people go to restaurants because they want to try something new, to eat different food, and just for the experience as well. But like so I say, like, let's travel by remaining in the kitchen in a way.
Exactly, good idea. And through social media as well, because as you were saying, you've met a lot of chefs, cooks around the world, and you've been trying a lot of different recipes from home.
Yeah, so to talk a bit more about the concept, like what I'm doing is like I'm learning, I'm trying to find food from all over the world, and then I will cook with and try the recipe. So there was a time I was hosting Instagram lives where I cook live with different people. So I think I did around 12 people. I have a map just next to me with the countries that I've been to. So I'm marred. So I cooked with people from India, with people from Iran, with people from Mexico, Hong Kong, England, Sri Lanka, South Africa, like different all these different countries, and basically, yes, it is fun to learn to cook, and you meet a lot of people. Like I don't know, this is the fun part of social media, and you get to know the person. I mean, you a lot of what do you call them, like barriers of like they fall over. Like we have a lot of stereotypes. People have a lot of stereotypes, and because
food,
of
you've been able to break the barriers through food, sharing food.
Exactly. Like we see, like, I don't know, I was cooking with someone from Namibia once. We did a tripe and with curries, and we were talking about our love for wine, and we were talking about I had another friend from South Africa, We were also talking about wine, like it's the passion that we have. I was cooking with someone from Iran, and we were seeing the beans. And I was talking how in Malta we use beans as well. Like he was talking the uses of beans from Beirut as well, from Lebanon. Like like you drop the barriers because we have something that we can share, some passion that we are, which is food. And also, like, we discover things about people. We discover how they eat, like similarities, even if we are from different parts of, like, completely opposite from geographically.
Yeah, beautiful. That's fantastic, Owen, that you've been doing your lives, and we'll be talking about your Instagram page later. But definitely, we'll have to have a look at all your lives and all your videos with different recipes around the world. That's really, really interesting. So, what would you say that one positive thing that you've learned during the recent lockdown? I know that now France is going through another lockdown, but during the first one, would you say that it was connecting with other people through social media?
Something positive. I think, like, maybe it will go a bit, like, I don't know. Like, I think we think that we are very dependent on other people, in the sense of that we always think that life would be. We have to appreciate ourselves, because at this point in time, at this moment, we are, by most of the time, we're spending time with less people or by ourselves. And it goes to show how important it is that you learn to know yourself, learn to appreciate the time spent by yourself. And although we are dependent, we are a society. I'm not saying that we don't need other people, but putting the value towards yourself is very, very important. And seeing how valuable you are in what you bring to the table is very, very important. I'm not saying it in a pretentious way that I am the world, but I really think that appreciating oneself it was a positive thing for me, because I've seen a lot of people that took the leap to do new things. Like, you see Coach Jay, you see Chef Blake, who was over here. Right. You see yourself hosting shows and talking to people. I mean, you see people. You see Ashley, who created her Instagram, and she's like now she's posting on a daily basis, sharing positivity. Like, you see all these people that they took the leap. So I think that is the positive part of it for myself. Absolutely. And also for other people.
Yeah, looking more in towards, let's say, inside ourselves, and finding new things that we can do, new skills, learning new skills, making that leap, as you said. Absolutely. Do you think that during this year, people have, as you said, slowed down a little bit with the lifestyle? You remember how before COVID, we all had a very busy lifestyle, very hectic. And suddenly COVID made us stop everything and change. Do you think that it helps people around the world to slow down a little bit and focus on different priorities?
For the short term, yes. I think long term, things will go back to kind of maybe we would reduce some stuff. We would think kind of like, listen, this is not an important thing to do. Right. We will value a bit more time spent with the family, I think. Because for example, talking about myself, like I always loved spending time with my grandmother and grandfather. So it was like it is something that I always love doing. But now that I cannot really do it, or because they are in a different country and all of these things, like I would appreciate it even more when I'm spending time with them. So when my grandmother will like my Facebook page, my Facebook picture, and she will tell me like nice thing, I will appreciate it this thing a bit more. So we will slow down, and we will appreciate what we currently have, because we will say like, listen, we took a lot of things for granted. At the same time, I think that busy life will still go back being fast, but I think we'll appreciate more the time that we spend
Yeah,
with people we care for, and maybe the things
absolutely.
that we were doing just because we had the time, like because it is a routine, like
Yeah,
wasting
yeah,
the 2 hours a day to go to work. Now it will be happening a bit less. Maybe that kind of busyness will take place. Maybe the meetings that you have to go in person will reduce, and
yeah.
these kind of things. I think that will reduce. But yeah,
That's right. All the commutes, even me, I'm working from home. I've been working from home since March. And
yeah.
even if there are much fewer cases in Sydney and Australia at the moment, we're still working from home. So we've cut out that commute time. We've cut out all the being in traffic and that stress. So it's really, really calmed down our lifestyle, especially here. And
And
I suppose you're working from home still, right?
yeah, see, and I also think that both employees and employers will be
Yeah.
more comfortable working from home. I don't know if you ever worked from home prior to Corona, but I did
No.
it before. So
Oh, okay.
I worked from home every few times, so not very often, but it was always kind of like not very kind of accepted because of fear that you would stay at home, you
Uh,
wake up very late, and you do nothing all
yeah.
day. But
Right.
but
That's
I
the
think
stereotype, isn't it? Just chilling.
yeah,
Yeah.
the kind of cliche. Are you working from home? You're taking another day off, like
Exactly. Exactly. It used to be like that, right? But now it's the opposite.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
working
I
much
think
more.
this will change, and it's a positive change because work-life balance is very important in since forever, and I think that we were going back to what you were saying about busyness and things like that. We were letting work taking a very big part of our life, and not appreciating what we can do, the life that we have.
That's right.
Spending some time in the kitchen cooking and having a glass of wine is amazing.
Absolutely. Oh, wine. What's your favorite wine? I was going to ask you.
It
I'm
has to be
I'm
French.
Italian, so
Yeah. But coincidentally, last week I bought my in 5 years. It was the first time I bought a bottle of Italian wine. Actually, a bottle
okay.
of wine which is outside of France, in France.
Right.
So, like, when it's a store, I bought it from a store. Unless I go to an Italian restaurant, I always
Okay.
drink French wine in France
I
because
see. Okay.
it tastes good.
That's true. That's true.
I like the wine, and it's much cheaper compared to if you buy South African wine, for example. In France, it is more expensive than better quality French wine.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay. So, well, French wine is beautiful as well.
yeah,
What would
yes.
you recommend we should try? French wine.
Uh, so I always like to recommend the Languedoc region, which is in the
Okay.
southern part of. So if this is France, it's over
Yeah.
here. So it's very much next to Bordeaux. So Bordeaux will be over here. Languedoc is just over here. It is a much smaller region compared to Bordeaux and Côte d'Or, and
Okay.
it's not as popular, as famous as both Bordeaux and Côte d'Or, and I think
Right.
and it's not as expensive as the Bourguignon, which is
Yeah.
from another region. So I think it's a very tasty wine. It's a bit tannic. It has a bit of a full body. I would recommend it with a nice piece of meat, for example, or cheese.
Right.
And Coach Jay last time tried a bottle from Languedoc Roussillon.
Oh yeah.
The region is called Languedoc Roussillon. So
Beautiful.
that's the kind of like it's not as popular and as famous and as
Right.
as
Yeah.
as Bordeaux, for example. Bordeaux, everyone knows Bordeaux, and I find that yeah, it's good. I like. Don't get me wrong. If there's a bottle of Bordeaux, I will
Yeah.
not say no to it. But it's kind of more something of a discovery, I would say, for Languedoc.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to try the less famous things, isn't it? Food, wine, because sometimes they get a little pumped up. They're a bit too pumped up, and if you try something that's a bit out of the normal, it's actually maybe more delicious than what everyone's
So
talking about, what everyone's eating or drinking. I think sometimes, right?
and it's also good to, because you try different regions. Different regions have different tastes. The wine tastes differently. So maybe you would prefer a bottle of wine that comes from another region, with the body, the structure, the tannins in the bottle of wine. Like I also like to go for bottles from, I think it's called the Galiac. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, or if it's the which is also a smaller region, or Berjerk. It's called like that. It's very really small regions that like to discover new things. They might not be as good as a Bordeaux, but it's still something fun to try different things. Don't get me wrong. When I go abroad, if I go to let's say to Spain, if I go to Italy, I always drink the local wine. I will not, as long as they produce, as long as they, I'm not even when I go to Malta, I drink Maltese wine. Hello, there's Coach Jay who just spoke. We were talking about you, Coach Jay. We were talking about so for people that are on Spotify or wherever they are watching it and they're not seeing the video, Coach Jay just joined the chat. I was talking when you tried. When he tried the he just joined when he tried the Languedoc wine from France. So even if you see like the Cahors, like there are so many good regions, there are so many good wines, and even when I go to Malta, as I was saying, like I love drinking Maltese wine because I don't find Maltese wine in France for obvious reasons. And you can be surprised of the countries having very good wine. For example, I've heard that Romania has they are making very good wine. Bulgaria and Romania, they're making good wine.
I should try that. I haven't tried any of those wines. I should try them. Not sure if we have them here in Australia, but I'll have a look. Have you been to Piemonte? I'm curious where I come from. Torino.
No, I haven't been to Torino. When I've been to Italy, I've been to Rome, I've been to Chieti, I've been to Bologna. Let me see if I've been to other places. No, but Torino, no. The reason why I haven't been to Piemonte to Torino is because it's very close to France.
Yes,
and
that's right. And you can drive there.
And exactly. And I'm always like, it's so close. I will go soon. But like you always postpone and you never end up going. But it's on the list. It's on the list.
Yeah. So I used to live in near Torino. I lived there for many years because my father is Italian, and I've lived here since I was a child, and then I moved back to Italy. Long story short, when I was there, I used to go and do a lot of wine tasting near Alba and Asti, the Langhe area.
Yeah.
So I have some beautiful memories of tasting Italian wine in the hills there, and I really miss that at the moment.
But this is like, it's on my to-do list is to go in Florence and going in the different cities in Florence, trying wine. Of course, I need to increase my knowledge about Italian wine, and even about all wine. Like I'm not an expert, but I tried much more French wine than I tried any other wine in the world, I would say. And and it's definitely. So you are a Juventus fan?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Are there any Juventus fans in the chat? What's a Juve? No? Okay.
I don't know if there are. For Italy, you can say that, yeah. But I don't know if people support Juventus or not. I know, So it's I'm a Manchester United fan.
Oh, Manchester United. Well, Manchester United is pretty good, to say the least.
Yeah,
hey,
but
everyone, sorry, I couldn't see the chat up until now, so I haven't been able to welcome everyone. Hi, guys. Okay, welcome everyone joining. Wow. Well, we have a lot in common, I think. I mean, you're in France, you come from Malta. We're quite close, neighboring countries.
Yes, yes. And so,
Yeah.
how long did you stay living in Italy, in Torino?
Well, I moved there when I was a teenager, when I was about 13. So I grew up in Sydney and then we moved to Italy and I was there nearly 20 years. Long time.
So you speak perfectly good Italian,
I speak Italian, yes, yes. I'm
and
with my
you
dad
must be
mainly.
you must be very annoyed. You must be very annoyed when you drink coffee and they give you a very bad coffee.
Well, I've been hard to find really nice coffee in Sydney, but we have found it. I mean, cappuccino. I love cappuccino and espresso, but it has to be made well, right? Because sometimes it's really
Yes,
long or it's really bland. It's not, the same strength.
I get so annoyed. I get so annoyed. Like in France, you eat very well, but when it comes to coffee, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the coffee is not
Okay.
good. And then you're
Yeah.
like, I have a very good meal, and now I have the urge to have a ristretto, small, powerful, that gives you a nice kick, and you just drink
Yes.
that, and it's done. And then they come with an espresso. They call it an espresso, and it's like, what is not an espresso? It's not because you put it in a small cup that it is an espresso.
Oh my
La la la
goodness.
la.
My goodness.
Yeah,
Well, it's fantastic to chat to you, Owen, about all of this and lovely to meet you virtually for now until we can all travel again, obviously.
same.
Uh, absolutely. To put a face to all these chats and Instagram people that I've met. It's been really exciting. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Let's jump back to we talked a little bit about March and April, what's been happening, and now again in October. What's the situation like in Paris and France?
So now we're back to, as you mentioned earlier, we're back to kind of a lockdown. It's not a full lockdown, it's not a full-fledged lockdown, but from 9 o'clock, everything is closed down. I might be talking too soon because maybe they are going to increase the lockdown.
Oh,
So numbers are going up quite fast. Like they touched 52,000 a few days ago in 24 hours.
sure.
So it's quite big numbers. Um, uh, so yeah, like people are, as much as possible, people are working from home, going out. Like restaurants are. The thing that impacts me the most are restaurants for me. It's like
Absolutely, yes.
like restaurants, markets, bars, and supermarkets. These are like the
Must
things
be
that I'm like,
so
oh,
upsetting. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
yeah. I used to go to the market and stay looking at the fruit and vegetables and choosing the stuff that I want. And now that is kind of like you have a plastic thing in front of you, and it's not the same experience.
No.
Um, so that's these are kind of the different kind of different aspects of it. Transport, people are a bit more stressed.
Yeah.
I just hope that we just take it a bit more seriously and do what we can do to be through this,
Yeah.
and make sure that especially the elderly who are much more impacted
Yes.
than younger people are yeah, we are responsible not just for our actions but for other people as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Owen, are you working on any special projects or plans for the rest of this 2020, or have you got any plans for next year? Depending on what
Yes,
happens,
so
obviously, with the situation, but have you got anything that you'd like to share with us?
yes, so I mean, as everyone, like as you mentioned before, like on my Instagram, I'm sharing very often different recipes. Like this week, I'm focusing on Halloween all over the world, like
Ah,
different
fantastic. Yeah.
countries. I'm sharing, like yesterday, I shared a barmbrack, which is a cake from Ireland. Like
Okay.
they put a ring in it, and who the person who finds the ring is considered to be fortunate, unless you bite it and choke on it, and then you will not be then you will not be that that will not be the lucky one. Yeah, so So I'm always, this is kind of like around my Instagram, that I'm sharing a lot of recipes from different countries. I'm also, but it's not just on Instagram. Like I'm on a website called Kukli Bukli, where I share recipes that are inspired from different cuisines. And I'm building up this kind of thing with around food, around learning about cultures, around breaking down dropping the barriers, like overcoming the barriers, and learning about different cultures through food, and sharing
Yeah.
that with people. I believe that I mention it. This is what I also always mention. For me, food is not something just that nourishes us, that gives us the vitamins and the protein and all of the nutrients that we need. It goes a step further. It brings us together. It makes us sit down around the table, and when we are sitting down in front of a table, we have a group of people where we can chat, we can talk, and people are usually happier with food when they're eating food rather than when they are hungry. That's why there's the word called
Of course.
hangry.
Angry.
So so
That's right.
it's good to share food, and I would love to share more about food and help make a drop in the ocean maybe, but bring people together through food.
Beautiful. A delicious drop in the ocean, Owen, with all your recipes and videos. I'm looking forward to trying some of them. I've seen some of your videos, but I need to try and look at some of the recipes that you put up the recipes too, right? On
Yeah,
your
so
Instagram page.
most of the time I put them on my Instagram page. I also when I try recipes, because I also try recipes from like yesterday. It is a plate which is from Ireland. I'm not creating the recipe, so I followed rather than copied the steps of a chef from Ireland. And I link it, so even if it's not me who make the recipe, I will. So I would recommend one for you actually. It is
Okay.
so bruschetta. For sure you've had bruschetta before.
See,
Bruschetta, yes.
we.
Yes. So so I made revamped the bruschetta. That might be a bit offensive for Italians. I'm not quite sure, but I don't call it
okay.
a bruschetta. So basically, there's a mix of the basis of a bruschetta. Then I put some cottage cheese, some walnuts, and a bit of balsamico.
Okay.
And it's quite nice. Yeah, I will send you the link a bit later. But
Okay, great.
it came out
I'll try it out.
it came out quite well.
Okay, beautiful. And I think you also have a blog, is that right? You write recipes on a blog? I saw on your
Yes. Yeah, so that is kind of something which is a work in progress at the moment.
okay. No.
It's a website called Homely Cookly. Yeah. Basically, I write a bit of a blog. I'm working on a blog. I also share the people that I cooked with, some description about the people I'm cooked with, and I also have links to my recipes on the website. It's called Homely
Fantastic.
Cooks.
Fantastic. Well, I think you've kept yourself very busy and very positive during this whole 2020, and you've been very good at adapting to what's happened. Not being able to
Yeah,
travel and
I
go
appreciate
out
that.
and go to all your restaurants and delicious French food. Oh my goodness, Paris is a dream. I went to Paris for years ago, and it's beautiful. Just to
It
walk
is.
around and staying, and look at markets and explore, really, isn't it? It's an exploration.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, I'm reading a book which is called Almost French. It's a bit funny comedy, but it also talks about France and Paris, and basically walking around. And the girl is actually from Australia, coincidentally.
Ah,
And she says how the woman by now, and she was talking about how Paris is kind of like this free museum, in the sense where you can walk and you see different stuff, the gardens, the art, even in the street, and everything like that.
yeah.
I also like. It's not to say that there is not this
Open
beauty.
air museum. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also like to see this beauty when I go to small towns anywhere. Like I don't know, like in Spain, I went to Sevilla. In Vietnam, for
Yes.
example, it's also a different museum. rather, so it's everywhere has its own beauty. But in Paris, it's lovely. It's lovely to just get lost, walk around, and just see the different parts of the day, and it has a completely different story. That's what I love about it.
Exactly. Yes, I think you're very lucky to live there. I'd love to come back one day, hopefully. When we can travel again, I come to go on a big European trip again and visit all my friends and family and drive into France as well. That would be amazing.
That you have to let me know so we can have a bottle of Languedoc wine and maybe either we go eat a cheese platter or I can cook for you and we will enjoy what makes Paris great. Beautiful.
So Owen, we're nearly at the end of our interview, but it's been really nice meeting you, and I'm really happy that we've made this connection. Could you share with us what kind of message would you give our listeners and our people listening around the world who are going into lockdown again now or facing isolation? What would you suggest doing? What would be your recommendation to get through this time?
Yeah, so I mean, it's difficult because everyone is facing it in a different way. So
yes,
you have people who are it leaves impact on their mental health, which this is kind of like what I would say to people who are facing it as very, very difficult is to seek someone to talk to, whether it's like family, friends, or even a professional. There is no shame talking to a professional about it. If you are not having that kind of, it's not that challenging for you, is to stay positive and to help people that might be having a difficult time and being positive. And also put some projects during this Corona period.
Yes.
But don't put too much on yourself. Like don't beat yourself down. Don't be the kind of like in the beginning of Corona. I said that I will learn French, another language. I will learn how to take photos, like photography, video editing. Like my to-do list had been like crazy, and it was putting stress on me. Yeah, like. I had like lists like this. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying do stuff that you're really enjoying. You really enjoy doing, and also try to call someone that you a friend of yours, family, someone like that. It's great to think about other people during this difficult time and stay positive and eat well.
Beautiful message. And eat well, absolutely. Yeah. You're not sure what to eat? You can check out Owen's page. Owen is on Instagram on Owen Cooks Eats. Is that right?
Yes.
Your Instagram.
Owen _cooks _eats.
Okay, I should write it in the. Anyway, I'll add it to our video when I post it on Instagram, and I'll share it with you. So you can find Owen on Instagram, Owen.cooks.eats. And he's based in Paris, and he's always putting up recipes and videos for delicious food, not just French food, but French food from all over the world. So if you're feeling hungry, please check out his page, I would say. Or you'd like to try something different as well, not just the usual food, you know?
Yeah, that's what I like. I try to. Most of the recipes, I will not say all, but most of the recipes are easy to make with ingredients that you can find at home, like at home, like in supermarket things. So I try to avoid having like caviar from I don't know what, like just simple. I cook like Mexican plates that you can make with beans, peppers that most probably you can find wherever you are. So it would be good if people can
simple
try it.
Simple is best, right? Simple is always best. You don't need to spend a lot of money, but simple and fresh and healthy, which is the best choice.
100%.
Well, thank you so much, Owen, for your time and availability and joining me on this project. I've really, really enjoyed meeting you and chatting to you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I have to say, well done, and thank you for the invitation for sure. And it's a nice thing that you are giving some time to like talking with people about how they
Yeah.
deal with during this period, this challenging period. Let's not call it hard period. Let's call it challenging. This different
Challenges. Okay.
part part of
Yeah.
part of our life, and it's good because if someone watches it and they're on the same boat, even if with people that are from all different parts of the world, it's nice
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
positive to show them
Definitely.
that they are not alone, that people are not alone. So well done, and I
Thank you,
acknowledge.
Owen.
I would like to say, like, awesome, keep it up.
Merci. Thank you so much, Owen. I'm really
Bye.
excited. Absolutely. Anyone listening who'd like to share their story of how they're coping during this crazy 2020, wherever you are, just get in touch and I'd be happy to have a chat on Instagram with you all. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a
Grazie.
wonderful Tuesday.
Buonasera. Alla prossima.
Alla prossima. Thank you to everyone who's joined and have a
Bye.
good week and stay safe. Keep smiling. Okay.
Ciao.
Thank you so much. Ciao. Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's been really lovely chatting to Owen in France, and I hope that everyone's staying safe during this time. Keep in touch, and I'll see you on our next episode of A Conversation in Isolation with Sonia Rossi. Bye. Thank you.